Hey there, viewers, and welcome back to the Self-Made Auto Channel. Got the 2008 Chevrolet. It's 1500. It's got the big 5.3. Something the customer just picked up apparently, or new to him vehicle, relatively new. Wants to borrow somebody's dump trailer and wants to know if the trailer connector works. So let's have a look. So this one does have an integrated trailer brake controller. We're going to use our IPA, electronic brake force meter. Now this also has some LEDs on it. Will indicate to us whether or not, you know, turning signals, brake lights, stuff like that's working. And then it's got the 7-pole RV plug. So I'm gonna go plug this in and we'll see what we have and what we don't have. Well, it's not all green, so that's good. That's not good. We don't have anything back here right now. Usually we'll have, you know, your full-time power. Let's turn the key on, see what we have for lights, and then go from there. Still nothing. Keys on. Trailer output, we have nothing. Okay. I got the marker lights on, nothing. Oh, there we go. We got right turn. We got a flashing ground integrity light and a flashing light there. And that's left turn. Nothing there. So, all right, it appears that we have about a right turn. All right, what do you know? What do you know, what do you say? Let's check out some fuses first and foremost and go from there. Oh, Chevy. Oh, got the classic hot air intake, air raid. Boom, boom. Oh, fuse box cover's already loose. Oh, she's looking ugly down there. Let me find out who's Sam and who's Henry here. I see we've got our one lead there. I think that's for the trailer charge wire, because on these here you can hook up an aftermarket brake controller also. Like if the integrated one dies, I think there's a process you can go through and they still have all this stuff here to hook up if you don't want to fix the OEM one. Because these were pretty troublesome systems, the trailer brake modules and the trailer brake relay and stuff that was mounted on the back. They were kind of a big mysterious system. A lot of people didn't fix them. Let's see if we can find, at least get our lights working first and foremost, which is probably blown fuses, but we'll find out before we jump to conclusions here. Okay, here we go. We've got our test light. All right, our test light even works. Oh, shit, it's on. Trailer stop right hand, trailer stop left hand. Fuse number 1 and number 3. That's number 1. And that's number 3. Let me go ahead and just kick on the 4-ways here. Okay, 4-ways on. We know that right one's blinking. So that should be this one here. That's that one. And then this is fuse number 3. And fuse number 3 is blown. We got nothing on that side and everything on that side. So let's grab a 10-amp mini. Actually, we'll kick that off and let's find trailer run. Let me just kind of skim down these here. That's trailer park number 25. Trailer park 15 amp number 25, which is this one here. Is the trailer park right here. Let's turn on the marker lights. Okay, marker lights on. Power on that side. No power on that side. Classic stuff, folks. Okay, this one here is for the trailer park. Number 15 amp. This one here is for the left turn. That's a 10 amper. Okay, let's see what we have now, boys. We got our marker lights. Do we light up here? Okay, we lit her up there. Tail. Let's turn on our 4-ways. All right, we've got our 4-ways. It says ECU detected now. Let's turn off our 4-ways. We'll turn the key on, okay? Let me just see if we have trailer brake control. me fire it up. Okay, so we do not have trailer brake control, but I just read here, these LEDs on this thing are insanely bright. It says here, one LED must be illuminated for brake force meter to operate. Let's see, now that we have our marker lights back there, we've got our left turn and our right turn, and then obviously the brake lights because they run off the same wires. Reverse lights, we'll skip that for right now. Let's check out this 12-volt auxiliary. I assume it's this wire here, the black with red, which we have power on the outside of that ring terminal, so we don't have to check the what you call it there, the fuse. But there is another wire taped up down there. I can't remember which one of them is for the 12-volt auxiliary and which one runs the 12 volts to the aftermarket brake controller, providing it had one. So let's just do this without even looking at a diagram. Let's see. Come on, baby, there's the eyelet. We're just gonna hook right onto that eyelet with a jumper wire. We're gonna come back here and go like this. Oh, what do you know, what do you say, huh? So that wire is the 12-volt auxiliary, because if I unhook it from here, okay, it gets rid of that 12 volt. So that wire actually needs to be brought up here and hooked up to the correct stud, which we're going to have to look into. This shouldn't have anything to do with the brake force meter functioning or not. I'm going to take and start the truck back up, push over on the brake meter, or over on the trailer brake controller. It shouldn't make a difference, but and it does not. It doesn't make a difference. Didn't think it would. So I guess we'll just make sure we have our reverse lights. We know that we have to run the wire here to have the 12-volt charge wire for the back of the vehicle. So if it has a trailer breakaway system or anything else that runs off the 12-volt auxiliary, that's there and functioning. After that, we're going to have to hook up a scan tool and see if we can talk to the trailer brake control module, and then, you know, diagnose that portion from here. I will look to see if there's any other fuses associated with the trailer brake control prior to, you know, getting after it under the car. According to the diagram, stud number one, is the one that is supposed to be the 40 amp that runs the power to the back. Stud 2 is a 30 amp. So let's see, sometimes people just guess on these as far as who goes where. Now I think it said fuse number 68. Let's see here, 68, stud 1, 40 amp, and that is supposed to be this fuse right here that's missing. Okay, so that's good. So they at least have this on the appropriate stud, because this is stud number 2, which runs the brake aftermarket controller on the inside, and this is stud number 1, which is supposed to be that one right there. And if we take, we'll get a fuse for it. She's kind of crusty though. We'll just go like this. Jumper those two together, and that should make this hot out here, and it does, okay? So let me get a 40 amp fuse for that. We'll have to run that wire up here. That looks like a 6mm stud, 6x10. We'll grab a nut for that, kind of scuff that up a little bit. Do the best we can. She's pretty crusty. We got us a 40 amp low pro J-case fuse. We're gonna use our little diamond cleaners here. They're kind of like tweezers, but they've got some abrasive on them. Allows you to get in there and clean up the terminal. Of course, we're gonna spritz it down with some deoxit. Kind of squeeze that and clean these off a little bit. These fuse boxes are pretty poor design. They get a lot of junk that sits up in them here. They don't seal really good, and then if somebody doesn't put the lid on all the way, it's even worse. So these things are pretty failure prone on the General Motors. Low profile 40 amp J case. Okay, that stud's hot now. Sweet. Usually don't like fiddling with these boxes too much. Usually they're just a ball of corrosion. So we're not going to pull it up all the way, but we're going to move this handle a little bit. That way we can sand off this terminal here and get a good connection. Just going to use this little piece of emery cloth here. It doesn't take much to get it back down to the copper. Down to Copperhead Road. Who remembers that song? That's some Steve Earle. Might have been his only one-hit wonder. Good song. Well, kind of, I guess. Have to think about the lyrics for a minute. I think he talks about sowing some seeds, some opium. And he came back from Vietnam, and I think Grandpa ran whiskey down Copperhead Road. And once you go down, you never come back, I think it was, from Copperhead Road. Might have been during Prohibition, I'm not sure. Okay, let's get that wire off the harness down there. Give me just 1 second there, old girl. So what's up? What's new? I see you got your van backed over here.
Broke.
Broke? What's broke?
Supposedly a light bulb.
Supposedly. Alright, so here, I don't think you can mix these two up because this one here, as you see, has this has an 8mm stud, this has a 6mm stud. So yeah, you can't even mix them up.
What? Why couldn't you?
Because you can't.
Is that the 6mm hole?
That's a 6mm hole. You can't put an 8mm shaft in.
You put the 8mm one on the 6mm one, so you could mix them up.
I guess. That's technical. You are correct, Mrs. O. I'm wrong. Woe is me. You're correct. I got nothing to say. You win. Mrs. O, always keeping us straight. We'll look up the factory torque value here in a minute. Come back through with a torque wrench and torque it to factory specs, of course. Alrighty, now we can see clearly that we have our 12-volt auxiliary. So let's pop it in reverse. If we have a reverse, then we have all of our lights. Hallelujah. So let me start that up. I don't know if you got to have it running to get the trailer reverse relay to kick in. Oh, stand by, folks. Hang on. Almost in. I got that reversed. Oh, man, off the wall. What do we got? Okay. This should be everybody. All right, we've got 12 volt. I don't know if you guys can see because I can't see the viewfinder. We got tail, we got reverse, we got turn signals, we got ground, we got everything except our trailer brake. So let's investigate into that. And for those of you that are wondering, the brake lights do work. So I put the brakes on. Some people will question that, or they'll question whether or not you have to have the brakes on to test the simulated load for the trailer brake controller, because I was reaching in and pushing the manual lever. So everything does work, just kind of rest assured there. So let's check out the trailer brake control system. And that's a good question too, the one you just typed, where you were wondering, how come we're not going to look to see what blew the fuses? We're not going to look to see what blew the fuses because it's about a 99.8% chance whatever somebody had plugged into the trailer brake plug at some point. Super common to find blown trailer fuses. This is really good what manufacturers do, where they separate the fuse from the fuse of the truck. So that's really good. It didn't used to always be that way. We would buy like the kits where you'd splice them in or you tap them into your taillights. The problem with that is if your trailer's junk, which 90% of them around here are, and it blows a fuse, you lose all turn signals and lights on your vehicle and on your trailer. So it's nice that manufacturers have started doing this, where they set up the trailer control circuits completely independent of the vehicle lighting circuits. So we're just looking at a wire diagram there. We need to check fuse 1 and fuse 43. They pertain to the trailer brake control module. And then fuse stud for stud number 2, which was this one here, which we already know is good. That one is also important. So fuse number 1 is called the, wait a minute, that's the trailer stop, right, that's not right. And what's number 43? Maybe I read it wrong on the diagram. Miscellaneous ignition, we do need to check that one. And I think I remember that, yeah, so fuse number 6 actually, the ITBC, integrated trailer brake control. So fuse number 6, which is a 15 amp, which is this one here, that one's good. Okay, and then fuse number 43, which is labeled miscellaneous ignition. That one is also important. And that's the third one up in this row, which is good there and good there. So we know our fuses are good up here. I'm probably going to yank them out just to make sure the legs aren't corroded off them. I'll find my pliers and I'll do that because that's pretty important up here. So I'll check that fuse and that one there. So it was integrated trailer brake controller and miscellaneous ignition. And now we're going to grab a scan tool and see if we can talk to the trailer brake controller and find out what the world's going on here. We've been talking with who you've been dealing with. Is there, don't have my glasses, but we're going to go like this. I don't see anything that says integrated trailer, but let's just go to list. I don't know, a trailer brake control module, how's that? Oh, we can talk to something. Let's see if we have codes in it. System disabled, information stored invalid, serial data received. That's a pass and pass. Interesting. This ignition pass. So let's erase that code. We don't need that. That doesn't mean diddly to us. I can't imagine it wouldn't like self-clear. Reread here just out of curiosity. Okay, let's just kind of glance through live data. I know the live data on these is kind of mysterious, some certain things in here. Trailer connection detected, no. Trailer disconnect detected, no. Electric trailer brakes, TB trailer brake fault, no. Now my simulator that we have plugged in, I haven't ever had an issue with that in the past, checking computerized brake controllers. Brake switch status off. Trailer brake control disabled. Interesting. With no faults. Okay. Well, let me double check my connection. Let's make sure we're just not a cruddy connector back there. I don't know if I got any friends nearby that have a trailer with brakes that I would dare plug this thing into. It's not going to blow every fuse in it. But we might have to do that. But like I say, that simulator that I have, I've never had an issue with it. So let me just fiddle, make sure we do have a good connection. So I've got the truck running, got our scan tool back here so I can see what's going on, and it's kind of interesting. I've got the brakes pedal depressed, and I tell you, this is the first time I think that this is going to let me down. And so we typically had to use these, digital brake force simulators on these computer-controlled brake circuits because your standard testing, like with a 4 or 5 amp load across the circuit, didn't work. But I did notice that when I plug this in initially, it bleeps on the scan tool, connection detected yes, and then goes right to no. We got a regular 4 amp test light here. We're going to go across the ground circuit, and then on the trailer brake circuit, the brakes are depressed right now. Oh yeah, look at that. Oops. Probably because I came on it and came off it, it's not going to work because it went into an error state. Let's have Mrs. O come out and help us. I think we're going to have to go old school on this one. Let me just see if it threw a code. No, it didn't. But I think it's in an error state because it detected the trailer becoming connected and then disconnected, so to speak here. Let me get this, because it keeps sparking there on me. We'll see if it lights up here. I'm going to go to live data and see if it detects a trailer connection or brakes connected. It does not right there. I'm going to have her come help us and see if we can do it that way. Let's make sure our test equipment's good here. We're going to go up to our battery positive. So our test light is good. doing this with just a couple needles here. All right, let me go get Mrs. O. Probably should find a little better way to do this, but stand by. All right, we've got Mrs. O. I'm gonna stick these on there before she starts it. Okay, go ahead and start it, Vanessa. See, it blinked at one time. Go ahead and step on the brakes. Okay, let off the brakes. Step on them again. Okay, let off it. Now push the manual lever over. Okay, let off it. Push it over slow. Okay, let off it slow. Just do that again, sweep it again. Okay, that's good. Go ahead and let off it. Okay, that's good, you can shut it down. So, you could shut it off, honey. So that's pretty interesting, folks, that this let me down. I was gonna endorse this a little bit. Innovative Products of America. A little bit of a disappointment. Like I say, I've used this on regular, aftermarket brake controllers. It's worked fine. This I would say is the first time I've used it and it did not function. Makes me want to go plug it into my truck to make sure it still works. I mean, I've used this often. Very interesting. Okay, well, we know though for a fact that everything on the customer's vehicle works, so that's good. Just a bunch of blown fuses, and then, of course, missing that wire that wasn't hooked up, and that's that. Tundra time. Let's see here. Yeah, so she's working in the Tundra. Let's see, I'm gonna push on my manual lever. Here we go, manual lever engaged. Oops, I better turn my gain all the way up here. Turn my gain all the way up to 10, turn it up to 10. And there we go. So yeah, the tool does function. Just not on that Chevrolet. Pretty bizarre. So what I just did is what no man ever does. I got all the directions just to make sure I wasn't missing something, but like I say, I've used this thing numerous times on various different vehicles. So the directions were pretty specific. It was silly stuff like, outside the parking brake, make sure it's running, have this plugged in, then wait a certain amount of seconds, then plug this in. Which it's kind of a bunch of nonsense. Anybody that has it, we just plug them in and it works. Everything I've ever tried out works. I've made sure that the status of the LEDs, because I don't know what they use to simulate a trailer or a load in there for the trailers. But I just went through and read it. They have an amendment to the 2019 and newers, stuff like that. So I don't know, maybe I'll call them. They do have their number here for the tech support. Maybe I'll call them and find out. Clearly the truck works and functions as designed, because when we use old school simulated load, which does not work on most newer, this thing's old, it's an 08. So first gen of these integrated trailer brake controllers. I just used the word gen. First style system. This one has like the separate relay and stuff, so maybe that's why it works. But yeah, that's that. Like I say, I've used this on older, just plain old style aftermarket, like Takancha, trailer brake controllers, and it seems to work fine. For some reason, it doesn't work here, but applying a 4 amp load to it seemed to work, but it's really tricky. Don't ever expect to do that on ECU controlled trailer brake controllers. I don't know what they look for specifically, but as a general rule, they do not like test lights. They don't like to see that. I don't know if it's the inrush current or what it is they don't like about it. Oftentimes when you are checking that trailer brake control circuit with a test light, if you're keen to observe, it'll oftentimes it'll pulse like it's checking, circuit integrity, which is always a good clue. Doesn't mean that the circuit's good, but you'll see that sometimes. The disadvantage to a tool like this is it is just LEDs. Does that mean that the trailer lights are going to work? It does not. It means that it has enough current to light an LED, but it does not mean it has enough current available to light, 6 or 7 trailer lights. Those light circuits were what, like 10 amps, I think they were. It takes probably 150 milliamps to light an LED. So an LED is a really bad tool to use to check circuit integrity. In our case, we're just swapping out blown fuses, you know, the best way to do is to go back there with a test light and check our actual turn signals and stuff. You know, do we have left turn, right turn? Can we light a 4-amp light? If we can, then we can likely light our trailer. But we saw our ground integrity back there is good because we lit a 4-amp light nice and bright with the trailer brakes. However, if he's hauling something with, you know, 2 axles, 4 brakes, you know, he's going to be pulling some pretty big current through there, you know, almost 20 amps. So that's it. Video's kind of silly. I'll check into this, but check these guys out. I don't know, maybe tell me what you guys use for trailer brake simulators on newer stuff. Not that this one's newer, but that's it. I'll post the video anyways. Kind of nonsense stuff. But anyhow, thanks for watching, guys, and you guys have a great day.